Hello there everybody, I'm Mr. GamePie, and welcome back to Let's Play Sonic Advance 3. Last time we got all the Chao, and this time we're going to be collecting the Chaos Emeralds. The way that I'm setting this up is basically at the beginning, I'm going to show you where the spring is to get to the Chaos Emerald minigame. Then I'll show you the successful run of the Chaos Emerald, and then if I had any fails, I'll show all of those off. But, yeah, basically, this Chaos Emerald minigame just works by you try to get all the rings that it tells you to get. It's kind of like Sonic 2's Chaos Emerald minigames, in the fact that you've got to collect a certain amount of rings within a certain amount of time. But, you know, it's a bit different. It's not in a half pipe. You can freely move about. You can freely move about in all directions. You can also jump, but that isn't really necessary in this particular Chaos Emerald minigame. But, yeah, basically, to get to these Chaos Emerald minigames, you need to get the special keys, which I think I've already mentioned. After you get all the Chao in a world, each level will have a special key in it. The position of the special key is random on each playthrough, but I believe it is designed so that you'll actually get it. Like, the moment you get to a place where a special key can spawn, it will spawn there. After collecting a special key, if you die, you will lose it, but it will still appear in the level once you respawn. So it's not like you die and then you can no longer get the special key ever again in that playthrough. No, it's very simple. You can collect up to 9 special keys at a time, and for most worlds that's exactly what I did, which is partially why I took a while to get these episodes out. Basically, I've been continuously making videos ever since the second half of Pac-Man The Ghostly Adventures 2. Like, then that's 4 months now. That's the second half of Pac-Man The Ghostly Adventures 2. Oh yeah, by the way, I forgot, Tails is an air shield whenever teamed up with Knuckles. But yeah, that's the second half of Pac-Man The Ghostly Adventures 2, Kirby and the Rainbow Curse, the Mega Man Numerical Run, the Kirby Superstar Let's Play, and now there's this, and there's been no breaks between any of those projects. So I finished the game, and then I actually took a 2-day break, because I figured I wouldn't have all the Chaos Emeralds by the time I would need it, and that seemed like a good place to put it off for a while, even though I did have the Chao episode ready for the day next, because getting 9 special keys in every world, that takes a while, even though I didn't actually need 9 special keys for any of these worlds. In fact, for a lot of them, I just needed 1 special key, because a lot of the earlier Chaos Emerald minigames in this game are pretty easy. It's only whenever you get to the end that things get tough. The last 2 Chaos Emerald minigames in particular are quite difficult. And pretty soon, we'll actually get into some real thematics with these Chaos Emerald minigames, like, they'll be throwing specific challenges at you over and over again. Right now, though, for these earlier ones, it's pretty basic stuff. But yeah, that's going back to the whole updating thing, that is one thing that I wanted to do this year, is I kind of made it my New Year's resolution that in 2015 we wouldn't have any major Let's Play breaks. And, I mean, so far, it's like, what is it? It's August 21st at this point of this recording, and that hasn't happened yet. So, there's only like 4 months to go left. I feel like I'm going to do it this year. And, I mean, that's actually kind of important because of how the YouTube algorithm allocates things. Like, if you take a break, you just sort of die on YouTube. It's weird. But yeah, here, trying to get to the special spring of Ocean Base is actually a little bit more complicated than I warranted, because it's really high up in this world. It's like in the top right corner. Yep, I completely forgot that I did that. Anyway, so yeah, it's up in the top right corner of the level, and for some reason, like, I literally just practiced getting to these special springs, and for some reason I just have the hardest time in the world getting up here. But yeah, I did try to make sure that every character got a chance to play a special stage so that you'd get to see all their animations and stuff. Even though, technically speaking, you don't get to see all characters' animations because there is a special fail animation that I don't really show off for every character. But yeah, here we go. One thing that I don't like about the way the Chaos Emeralds are arranged is the fact that the Chaos Emeralds are not arranged in the colors that would best fit each of the worlds. Like we got orange here, yellow, for ocean-based, when really gray would probably be a much better color for it. And this applies to like pretty much every Chaos Emerald in the game. I'm pretty sure that each of the Chaos Emeralds is actually kind of foreshadowed in the World Select area. Basically, there's those machines that take you from one world to another, and each one has a different color associated with the world, and I'm pretty sure that color is actually the color of the Chaos Emerald that you'll find there. Now, one thing about this game that I haven't mentioned yet is I feel like it's kind of the last game to pay attention to continuity in the Sonic series. Like, this came out after Sonic Heroes, and the next game would be Shadow the Hedgehog. And I mean, Shadow the Hedgehog kinda paid attention to continuity, but not really as far as I'm concerned. It kinda like made up its own continuity, really. But here, you know, we've got all the really cool characters, and they actually pay attention to a lot of the areas from previous games. Like, it seems like a lot of the areas in this game are made up of corrupted areas from past games, as I mentioned before. And then, of course, in the final area, you've got the Master Emerald, and Robotnik's trying to steal it again. And I just feel like it's a good way to go out with the continuity, in a sense. You know, Sonic 06 was the game after Shadow the Hedgehog, in a sense, and it tried to, like, reboot the series, which was pretty solidly unnecessary. And it didn't do it anyway. And then, you know, you have Sonic Generations, and that kind of focuses on the continuity, despite the fact that games like Sonic Unleashed and Sonic Colors paid no attention to continuity at all. Like, those games, no. And then, of course, Sonic Lost World comes out, and it's like, Knuckles is just sort of there. Why are you there, man? Don't you have a Master Emerald to guard? He doesn't anymore. He doesn't have a Master Emerald to guard anymore. This is the last game that paid attention to the Master Emerald at all. Why was Knuckles in Shadow the Hedgehog? I don't know. Was the Master Emerald there? Nope. Nope, it wasn't. Why was Knuckles in Sonic 06? Did the Master Emerald have anything to do with that? Nope. Floating Island? Nope, nothing. Absolutely nothing. Like, I feel like the reason they sort of got rid of the Master Emerald and the Floating Island because, like, they want to keep Knuckles in the group constantly. It's like, that really wasn't what he was like at the beginning. But that's what he is now. He's just a regular part of the group that can arrive for any old reason at all. Yep. Anyway, this Chaos Emerald minigame is actually the first Chaos Emerald minigame that I fail. You don't see it here, of course, because this is the successful run. But we do have an outtake to show. And to note, if there is an outtake to show, I will only show off the failed part of the run. Like, you know, each of these Chaos Emerald minigames is split into two sections. You got the first section where you get rings, and you got the second section where you get rings. And if I only failed on the second section, I'll only show the second section. So that we're not here forever. Because as is, this video is almost 30 minutes long, really. But yeah, really, this entire thing here is sort of like an homage. The entire Sonic Advance series is kind of an homage to the classic Sonic games. Which makes sense, they're the first 2D Sonic games for quite some time. The first Sonic Advance game in particular, from what I hear, has the gameplay that's most like the original 3 Sonic games. Oh yeah, and here's the outtake, by the way. It's actually during the first part of this minigame, which is kind of surprising. And, you know, years later, they'd come out with Sonic the Hedgehog 4, and I've never actually played Sonic 4, Episode 1 or 2. But I do know this much, is that it's not Sonic 4. Like, these Sonic Advance games, they're not Sonic 4 either, but they're also not claiming to be Sonic 4, you know what I mean? Now, I don't know if Sonic 4 Episode 1 or 2 were actually good quality or not. I can't say that much, but from what I've seen, they're about as Sonic 4 as these games are. Maybe even less so, really. And I feel like if somebody's complaining about the fact that it's not Sonic 4, then that's a reasonable complaint. Maybe it might not be a reasonable complaint to say that it's a terrible game, but it is a reasonable complaint to make. Also, I do the thing here, too, where I keep accidentally jumping into levels. But yeah, Cream Sonic, I don't think I ever actually showed this team off, really. I don't really show them off here, either, because the only special thing about Cream, whenever she's teamed up with Sonic, is that Cheese is worse than normal. She'll launch Cheese directly forward instead of having him hold onto an enemy, and there's actually a delay on that attack. So that's kind of sad. But yeah, this level, I mean, we've got standard jumps, you know, but then there's this part. Alright, so you see, I kind of messed this part up. You've got a series of bombs that come down the center of these lanes. You've got to decide which direction you want to go on. And as you can see, you pretty much want to stay on the right for these. There's 3 sections on the right that have a lot of rings, while there's 3 sections on the left that have a lot of rings, while the section on the right only has 1. And there's 1 amongst that set that has 1 ring on the left, while the large amount of rings are on the right. Still, despite messing all that up, I still end up getting through that with 10 rings extra, so that's pretty good. They're also asking you to get quite a few rings at this point, 100 rings more. That's quite a few. Also, the gray bombs are bombs that you can jump into. There was one point, I believe it was in the second Chaos Harmony game, where I jumped into a red bomb thinking like, hey, can't I jump into these bombs? Isn't that a thing I can do? No, it wasn't. I could jump into the gray bombs, not the red ones. And you do actually get rings for jumping into the gray bombs. There are also certain special rings that are flashing, and those give you, I believe, 5 extra rings normally. Though if you collect it while in this super boost mode, you'll actually get 10 rings from it. So make sure to get those if you're in boost mode. The boost mode is, of course, taken from Sonic Adventure, where Tails entered his super special mode during the fight with Robotnik to get onto the egg carrier. And now we've seen every character get a Chaos Emerald at this point. So there's 2 last Chaos Emeralds. What combination will I be doing? Why, Tails and Cream, of course. Even though you can't actually see them in the cockpit, I often like to think that your partner is actually the one driving the tornado. Also, one thing to note is that to get to this particular Chaos Emerald minigame, it seems that you need a character that can actually get extra height. Fortunately, just about every team can do this. The only team that I don't think you can do that with is, like, Sonic and Knuckles, Knuckles and Sonic, and then Tails and Knuckles. Because any team with Amy can get up there, any team with Cream can get up there, any team with Tails as a partner can get up there. By the way, I'm talking about these teams as them having partners. Actually, now that I think about it, Amy and Sonic can't get up there either, but basically, this is the only Chaos Emerald minigame where your options are actually somewhat limited. But, I mean, you know, otherwise, it's a pretty easy thing to get to. But yeah, chaining together the super modes like that is a very important thing to do. Because, I mean, you want to get double rings as much as possible, because otherwise you're missing out on quite a few rings. Plus, I kind of like the handling better. Like, normally, your character is just sort of walking on the wings of the tornado, and then, like, you'll have to get to the very edge for the tornado to start moving. Oh yeah, this. They'll start expecting you to do this a lot. But then when in boost mode, you just move and it's the tornado that moves. I think I would have preferred it if that was always the case. One important thing to remember about bouncing on the gray bombs is that if you hold down the jump button, you will actually launch higher than normal whenever you bounce. But if you just hold down on the jump, or if you don't hold down on the jump button, it just lets yourself bounce normally, you won't bounce as high. it's generally more beneficial to just bounce normally, because I'm pretty sure that's generally how the level design is designed. If you do the extra high bounce, then you're liable to miss something or run directly into something because you didn't land, and then you just landed on top of a bomb or something, and that's not fun for anyone. Speaking of not fun for anyone, we have a fail for Cybertrack's bonus stage. But yeah, there's some fails in these minigames where I feel like I did pretty well, I should have just gotten it, but no. But yeah, first time I played this minigame, I forgot about the whole bounce across the bombs thing, and that was bad. And I'm pretty sure that's kind of what messed it up for me. Also, there was that. There was just me messing up the bounce in general. I have to say, I do like... Oh, there was that too. Yeah, the circles that let you get into the boost mode do start moving after a while, which can make things dangerous. And then I try to jump into that bomb there, and that's not something you want to do. That's a bad idea. Oh, there was another fail. I forgot. There were 2 Cybertrack fails. Even though Cybertrack was the first world where I got all the Chao, it was definitely not my first world where I got my first Chaos Emerald. The thing is that these last 2 Chaos Emerald minigames in particular are way more difficult than anything before it. In fact, the next Chaos Emerald minigame, Chaos Angel, that Chaos Emerald minigame is going to have another difficulty spike, like a major difficulty spike. Because here, I have 2 fails. But thing is that once I got to Chaos Angel, I kind of got bored of grinding for all the special keys, so I only got 5. I had to use all 5. It was a bad time. And yeah, if I had gotten the flashy ring, I would have actually made it through that, but I didn't get the flashy ring. Alright, and so for the last set, we're actually having Sonic and Knuckles. Sonic, because, you know, he's the guy, he's always riding on top of the wings of the tornado. And Knuckles, because this is sort of like Angel Island, so, you know, I kind of figured he'd need to be here too. He's got to help out to get the last Chaos Emerald. But yeah, this Chaos Emerald minigame is way harder, and unfortunately, Chaos Angel is kind of a difficult world to grind the special keys in. The first 2 acts are ridiculously long, simply put. So getting all the special keys can take a long time on those stages. Now, Act 3 is pretty easy. It only takes about 2 minutes, and it's incredibly linear, so there's like no chance of you ever missing the special keys on that stage. That is my ideal stage for grinding the special keys. And in general, the combination that I use to do so would either be Tails and Amy, because Tails can fly and he can attack while flying in that combination, which really helps on that stage. Or Cream and Amy, because, well, it's a cool team that I kind of like, even though it isn't actually that great. And Cream's ability to fly, as well as Chi's homing abilities, can really break the level quite effectively. But yeah, I remember, whenever I was a kid doing this for the first time, it took me a long time to get through this minigame. I mean, I must have had to get like 9 special keys twice over before I actually succeeded once. And, I mean, even here, I don't exactly win by a whole lot. I win by the last ring. It's intense. And then there were failures. 4 failures. Just, yeah, look at that. I got exactly 120 rings on my first time going through. Whenever I was doing this, I was thinking, man, there is no way I'm actually going to succeed now. I got exactly enough rings to get past stage 1, and I know how tough this Chaos Emerald minigame is. It is intense. Though notably, I'm pretty sure that it is possible to get all the rings that you need in this last section. It's not like you need to have a surplus before going in. But having a surplus before going in is ridiculously important and helpful. If you're good, you can bounce on 2 of these bombs while going through them. And of course I missed that too, although you don't actually need that for the last section. Although if you want to get double rings on that last, flashy ring, you do need that last boost. And that's 10 rings, that can make or break you. Here we go, I actually started with 13 extra rings this time, so I was feeling pretty good about this one. Seemed like it would work out. It didn't, of course. But yeah, whenever grinding for the special keys, I went through Act 1 once, and I saw how long that one was, and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna go straight to Act 3 and play that one several times over. Because the thing that I had been doing previously is I had just been playing through each level of each world 3 times, getting a special key each time, which results in having 9 rings. But then this happened, that didn't work out so well. And I mean, for quite a while I was just using random combinations. At this point I have used every combination of the game multiple times. Yeah, didn't even come close to making it that time. And I gotta say, Avian Cream and Avian Tails is pretty terrible. It really does not work at all. But Sonic and Cream, that's a very good combination that I never really did show off. But yeah, once again, I'm not going to be showing off every combination in the game. Some combinations will just have to remain a mystery. Or, you could probably look up some guide or something. But I believe I have shown off every good combination in the game at this point. Really, anyone that you need to know about. It is kind of funny, though, a game that I applaud for its versatility, its level of exploration. One of my favorite levels in this game is Act 3 of Chaos Emerald, which is probably the most linear level in the game. There's like 1 extra pathway to take. Yeah, not even close this time. Man. Yeah, all these fails have been on the second half of this Chaos Emerald minigame. It's pretty crazy. Just like, the first half of the Chaos Emerald minigame, it's pretty tough, but it's nothing that you can't get past. But then this half of the Chaos Emerald minigame, it feels like you have to be practically perfect to get through it. In this part here, it is really intense trying to weave around those bombs that appear in the middle. It's quite difficult. Also, whenever the gray bomb starts shooting, that's when things get really intense. Very difficult. And 20 off. Yep. Alright, I believe that this is the last outtake. So many ways to fail this. I mean, at this point, I was getting really worried because, like, I only had 1 key left after this attempt. I did get the last Chaos Emerald on my last key. So, I mean, this is super nerves right now. Like, I am freaking out. This part right here is an important part to master because, I mean, All the other parts of this minigame, they're fairly easy to get through without missing too many rings, but if you mess up that part, then that's actually a fairly difficult part to master, and messing it up can mess you up the game. And there we go! Now this was one thing that I forgot about. After winning all the Chaos Emerald minigames, you get this to come up to you, a special little password. Up, R, down, L, right, left. So if you input that code right here, you unlock Special Stage Mode. I had completely forgotten about this mode before seeing it here again. But basically this is just a marathon of all the different special stages. So let's see how far I got. Route 99. Sunset Hill Zone. Ocean Base. The amusement park that I can't remember the name of. Twinkle Snow. Cybertrack with 3 rings to spare! That was an intense one. And then we get to Chaos Angel. Am I gonna make it? Am I going to actually finish the mode with all the Chaos Emeralds? Not even close. Honestly, I don't think I've ever actually succeeded in this mode, and I don't think I'm gonna be doing it anytime soon. So until next time, I'm Mr. Game Pie, and I'll see you at the end.